Hi there. I'm just gonna give everybody just a moment to hop on here with me. Today we're gonna talk about feel and developing feel as a rider. A couple of weeks ago, I made a post with a poll asking everybody to share their opinion about whether or not feel was something that could be developed as a rider or whether it's something that you're born with and you either have or do not have. And I'm going to share with you my opinion. I'm also going to share with you some ideas about how to continue developing rider feel, because spoiler alert, I do believe that it is something that can be developed. And I want to give you a proper introduction to the riding tree, which is a really helpful tool for figuring out where you are and what you need to work on next. So first of all, I made this post a couple of weeks ago and asked everybody what their thoughts were, whether you believed that feel was something that was something that you were born with and could not be developed, or whether it was something that could be taught. And we had a lot of really interesting comments and opinions, and overall it seemed like most of you believed that it was a combination of natural ability and being able to develop it as you go. There were a lot of great comments about how a good coach could help bring that out in a rider. And there were some comments about riding multiple horses and how the opportunity to ride multiple horses was something that helped to develop feel. There were also some really interesting comments. Melissa made a really good point about specific exercises to develop feel, and she used the exercise where a rider is on the lunge line, so they're riding the horse on the lunge line with their eyes closed, learning to feel for the diagonals to be able to post on the correct diagonal. So I think overall what everybody seemed to believe was that there was a combination of natural ability where some things come easier to some riders, but that it can be developed with lots of time in the saddle, maybe some good coaching, and riding multiple horses. The only other thing I would really like to add to that is the opportunity to ride good horses. And if you've ridden a really good horse, then you know how much riding a good horse actually forces you to develop your feel and to develop your skills. So, like I said, I'm going to share my perspective a little bit and some tips for developing your feel. What I want to share with you is the riding tree, which was created by Dr. Ron Meredith, who used to run Meredith Manor International Equestrian Center, which is the school that I graduated from, equestrian school that I graduated from in West Virginia. It's the only five-star equestrian school in North America. And I graduated from Meredith Manor in 2005. And since then, I've been teaching between 1,600 and 1,800 lessons per year. My students have gone on to be top 10 at the Congress, had multiple top 10 NRHA finals. I've accumulated a couple of those myself as well. And a lot of the riders that have come through, not just my program with my husband, have started right from the ground up. So what I'm sharing with you as far as my opinion about developing rider feel comes from that background. And I definitely think that it's something that can be developed, as most of you said, something that can be developed. And I think what we need to do to explore this further is really understand what feel is. So what feel is your ability to interpret the feedback that you're getting from your horse. So your ability to interpret feedback from your horse. And in order to improve that, it's going to look different for different people. It's going to look different depending on what you're working on. So if I can show you the riding tree here, and we can just quickly explore what the riding tree is and what some of the components are. Then I will explain to you how it pertains to the development of feel. So the riding tree is broken down into, we're looking at 6 different parts. And what I want you to think about is not so much what level am I at as a rider. It's not so much, oh, I'm a 4 working on a 5. It's more, the way to think of it and the way to use it is more like we are always kind of vacillating between these things. We're always trying to build on these things for every hour, every minute, every maneuver that we're doing on our horse. So it's not a matter of getting to the point where we're influencing the horse and then staying there all the time. It's a matter of trying to have all of these pieces built up and then be influencing our horse most of the time. So just to break these down a little bit more, the first part of the riding tree is relaxation. Meaning you really can't make any progress with your rider development. Remember, this is for riders, not for horses. There's a whole separate breakdown for horses. You really can't get any further if you are not relaxed. And I'm sure there's a lot of neuroscience that would back this up, right? We can't interpret feedback from our horse if we're not relaxed, right? That's shifting into a different part of the brain. So we need to be relaxed. We need to be balanced. Okay, so the second part is balance, and these two really go hand in hand. I don't know about you, but if I'm not balanced on a horse, I'm not relaxed. Okay, so relaxation, balance. The third one is following the motion. So that means following the motion of the horse. Okay. The fourth one is application of the aids. So now what we're talking about is actually applying our aids to ask the horse to do things. Okay. Using the leg to drive the horse forward, using the inside rein to lift the horse's chin up towards its inside shoulder, whatever. Number 5 is coordinating the aids. So now we're talking about not just applying one aid, we're talking about trying to coordinate application of multiple aids at one time. So for example, lifting the inside rein to lift the inside shoulder up just a little bit, sliding the outside leg back to move the hip in, lightening the hip, using a verbal command, and asking the horse to lope off. Okay, and then the 6th part is influencing. And what influencing means, and most people don't think about this a whole lot, but what influencing means is to be in a position where you've got all of these things working for you and you're able to actually make the horse feel like doing what you want. Okay, so you're out of their way at this point and you're able to make the horse feel like creating the shape or feel like creating the maneuver, whatever it is. So let's get back to feel again for a moment, and let's think about if we want to develop our feel, if we want to develop our ability to interpret feedback from our horse, we're not going to be able to develop our ability to interpret feedback from our horse if we're not relaxed, if we're not balanced, right? Those are probably the most important pieces. In following the motion, we're probably going to be able to develop some feel for what the horse is doing, how the horse moves. I was talking to somebody today who's been riding bareback a little bit to try to develop her feel for what the horse is doing. Application of the aids, the feel that we're developing there is usually, what do I need to do with my body to apply this aid, right? The feel that's being developed in coordination of the aids, how do I get my body to do these things at the same time? How do I get this information from my brain to my body? It's not feel in terms of interpreting what the horse is doing, interpreting the feedback that the horse is giving us. Interpreting the feedback that the horse is giving us happens down in the influencing zone. Okay, so to make this simpler for you, if we think about a rider who's learning, who's just starting out, and they're riding in the walk, let's say, and they feel fairly relaxed, okay, they feel fairly balanced from front to back and side to side. They feel like they're able to follow the motion, follow the horse's rhythm in the walk, and maybe they're able to apply some aids. Maybe they're able to do some steering. Maybe they're even able to coordinate some aids and do some steering and pushing the horse into the corners, stuff like that. Where the feel has to come from is with all of those parts coming together. So in the walk, that rider might be developing some feel there. Now let's take that rider and push them into the jog. And all of a sudden, they're not able to coordinate their aids anymore. They're not able to follow the motion anymore. They're struggling with their balance and they're struggling with their relaxation because again, who can be relaxed if we're not balanced? So in this circumstance, what this rider needs to stay focused on is the riding tree and the next piece in the riding tree for where they're at. So they can continue to develop their feel inside of the walk. But if they're losing their ability to get their aids coordinated, to be following the motion, to be balanced, to be relaxed, then in order to continue to develop their feel in the jog, they have to stay focused on these things first. Okay, if we go another step to, let's say, riding the fast lope, which is a question that I get a lot. I don't feel what my horse is doing in the fast lope, or I can't get my horse to do this in the fast lope, steer, move out, lift their shoulder, whatever. If we look at what's happening, and if you can ask yourself what is happening as it relates to the riding tree inside of the fast lope, you can figure out what the next piece is to work on to get you closer to that area of influencing where then you can develop the feel. So if you are, let's go back to this again, if you are not able to apply your aids, let's say you get into the lope and you speed your horse up and all of a sudden you can't get your legs on, which happens a lot to people, then that's a part that you need to work on. And you maybe need to actually look back a little bit further and say, am I following the motion? Am I using my body to follow the horse's motion? Because if I am, then I can start to apply my aids. If I'm not able to follow the horse's motion, am I balanced from side to side and front to back? And if I'm not, that's where I need to work. If I'm not relaxed, and like I said, these two go very much hand in hand. If I'm not relaxed, maybe I just need to spend a little bit of time in the lope, in the faster lope, getting relaxed, okay? Once I can develop that relaxation, I can be more confident in my balance, then I can start to follow the horse's motion, then I can start to apply my aids and get my leg on properly while I'm in that fast lope, then I can start to coordinate my aids and maybe lift up my inside hand and drive my horse outside on a bigger circle. Then I can get to the point where I'm influencing and I'm developing the feel inside of the fast circle. I hope you're tracking. I know that is a big introduction to the riding tree, but I hope that gives you some specific examples for how to break that down. Chances are, if you are wanting to develop your feel, working on whatever it is you have been working on is what's going to get you there. There's no secret about how to develop feel. It's just continuing your development all the way through the stages of the riding tree. So if you're currently working on getting your legs on in the fast lope, keep working on getting your legs on in the fast lope. If you're currently working on getting relaxed in the fast lope, or getting relaxed in the sliding stop, or getting relaxed in the spin, getting your balance in the spin, getting your balance in the sliding stop, getting your balance in the sliding stop where you're going faster than you have been. All of those things are what stack up to then being able to develop. Doing a deeper dive, I see some of you guys that are watching are already enrolled in the Equitation Accelerator. The Equitation Accelerator is a 12-week program. It's knowledge-based. It starts January 18th. and runs for 12 weeks. We're doing a deep dive into what our bodies need to do to ask the horse for our reining maneuvers. And we're working all the way back to how the horse operates and how the horse takes direction right from birth. So we're not just looking at what your body needs to do to create the shapes that make sense to the horse. We're also looking at why and how that makes sense so that you can troubleshoot your own riding, you can evaluate your own videos, you can improve your scores, you can ride more horses to a higher degree of success. There's all kinds of benefits here. If you are interested in equitation and you want to develop your skills, this is a really condensed version of going to an equestrian school. It's focused on reiners, and I have kept the content very, very condensed. I want to be respectful of your time, but also make sure that it really packs a punch. So the only things that are in this program are the things that you absolutely need to know and will actually have a lot of fun learning about to develop your skills as a rider. If you're interested in the Equitation Accelerator program, you can send me a message. If you're looking for some further support in your riding at home, I'd be happy to tell you about our Momentum program, which is our online coaching where we're delivering lesson plans basically for you to work on at home on your own time, but with guidance from your horse trainers. We also have our tack shop where we're selling equipment. I'd be happy to share that information with you and help you with any shopping that you need to do on there. And training, lessons, clinics, you can also send me a message. Thanks for being here with me tonight, and I hope that you have a little bit of inspiration about how to continue developing your own feel and staying the course with whatever you're working on to further develop yourself and your equitation. Thanks very much, guys, and I will talk to you in the DMs. Good night.